You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 112. Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Today's subject is called Don't Send the Damn DM. I know we're just getting straight in there with a slightly aggressive title, but hear me out on this. Well, actually, before I get into this, I also do want to say, not all DMs are bad. I love a direct message. I love receiving a good direct message. I love sending a good direct message. But the key bit in both of those words is good. So, over the last few months particularly, I have seen a real increase through the people I work with reporting just bizarre direct messages, just straight up bizarre. And that's what we're going to get into today. And I've got a few different examples. I think about 5, 6 different examples of when a direct message is not really appropriate. But before that, I want to say that there are many reasons when a direct message is brilliant. Generally, if you're looking to use a direct message to connect with someone, not ask them for something, but to initially connect with them, or you have an existing relationship there that you're wanting to develop and you're chatting in a friendly, useful way, absolutely, please use those DMs. DMs, direct messages, the ones that come to your paper airplane symbol on Instagram or our messenger on Facebook, or go into your inbox if you have a business page. Absolutely, they are such a brilliant tool for taking a conversation a bit further, getting more information about that person, sympathising, speaking to them in a way that can help them. I send a lot of DMs, but I'm really careful when I send them. I do definitely do all of these things, but the key is be respectful, be kind, be nice, and you're in their personal space. If you're in their direct messages or you're in their inbox or their messenger, whatever, you're in their personal space. And when you're there, please respect it. Using your direct messages well is such a valuable tool. You can reach people that you would struggle to reach normally, and you can connect with them in a way which is completely different. You can send voice notes, you can send gifts, you can send all sorts, as well as obviously just typed words. But the ability to connect with people that perhaps we wouldn't be able to normally through direct messaging must not be abused, because if we lose it and we lose those connections, it's not good. They're brilliant. When used well, they are such a great way of building and growing relationships, finding your tribe, finding people that you've got shared interests with. But when they're used badly, they wind people up and talk about get a black mark against your name. Nothing gets one quicker than the things I'm going to talk about today. So, number 1 on the don't send the damn DM list. Do not send a DM if it is unpleasant. So, if you have got something to say about someone's content and it's unpleasant, unhelpful, all of those words, don't send it. Don't send the DM. Don't leave a rude comment. Don't do anything. Scroll on by. And I mean that. Please scroll on by. If you haven't listened to the podcast I was on, the eventing podcast, the Equiratings eventing podcast, I was on with obviously the lovely Nicole Brown, but also with Tina, who's Life on the Left Rein, and with Laura Collett. And we were talking about social media a lot. And one of the things was, if you haven't got anything nice to say, scroll on by, please. Because it's just unpleasant. You're invading their personal space with your nastiness, and there's no need for it at all. If you don't like what someone is doing, just scroll on by. You don't need to send a foul message, and you certainly don't need to be dumping that message in their direct messages. So I know if you're listening, you wouldn't do that. But also, all these things that I'm going to talk about today happen. All of these things I have known to happen, I have seen happen. So don't think I'm coming at this from that's never happened. It has. They haven't all happened to me at all, but please be aware of it. So anything nasty, anything troll-like, anything negative. Again, we were talking about before, if you've got a really good relationship with someone and you see something and you think, ooh, oh, that's not how it was meant to come across. Of course, send them a kind message to say, oh, I love what you're trying to do there, but, or, if someone's made a typo or something like that, yes, absolutely tell them, because you've got that relationship there and it's being constructive and helpful. Or even if it's being helpful anyway, it can be about a negative thing potentially, but if it is helpful, that's a different thing. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who just seem to flip on you out of nowhere, and perhaps you haven't even realised that they were on Instagram before, or you hadn't met their account before, and then all of a sudden you get, oh, well, this isn't very good, why haven't you done this isn't very good. And I have seen some posts that people have received of this nature, and some are just straight up unpleasant, some are definitely on the troll spectrum, some are just negative and not helpful. But what you don't realise is that even if someone is showing themselves, let's say on video, and they're quite confident on video, if you then get a message going, well, your hair looks rubbish, you've got an extra chin today, oh, your sound quality's rubbish, that is not going to be helpful, okay? That person who receives that message is going to be really upset by that. And it might be to different levels. Some people just go, oh, idiots, and move on. And some people, it'll actually really hinder them moving forward. And you don't want to be that person. No one wants to be that person, and no one should have that power over anyone. It's not cool. So if you're thinking of sending something unpleasant, don't. If you're thinking of sending something helpful and constructive, read it a few times before you send it, because you don't want your helpful advice to be taken in the wrong way. Some of the ways it can be taken the wrong way, if you've never approached them before and you just come out and tell them that such and such is wrong and this, that and the other, it's not going to be good. It's not needed. You're not the person to deliver that news. If it's just rude, if you don't have a relationship with them, if you're just negative, just don't. We're all trying our best. Be kind, please. So if it's unpleasant, don't send the damn DM. Not good. Move on. Go for a walk instead. Don't do it. It's going to be a good one, this, isn't it? The next one, don't send a rude DM. And side note, saying no hate after you've been rude or unpleasant doesn't remove the rude or unpleasantness. So just don't do it. I've seen that so much. I've seen oh, I think this. No hate. No, saying no hate doesn't mean you're not being unpleasant, rude, a bit of an idiot. It doesn't mean that at all. Saying no hate is just you trying to sort of say, oh, you're ugly, no offence. No, it's still offensive, No hate doesn't change that. Saying no offence when you've been offensive doesn't change that. So, anything rude, you can't add something afterwards that means it's okay. And rude can be anything. It can be, I suppose it does kind of overlap with the unpleasant, but I think the rude is perhaps just showing a complete lack of manners, a complete lack of respect. So rather than being deliberately nasty, troll-like and negative, it's just maybe giving your opinion when it's not needed, or asked for, or anything like that, really. It's the way you say things. Someone puts up a post and you sort of go, well, I don't like it. Oh, okay, that's great. Don't say anything. Don't send the damn DM. And then don't say, oh, I hate it, but no hate. Just don't say the first bit or the second bit. Just don't send it. Don't waste your time and don't upset that other person. Unprofessional is the next one. Oh, this is a good one. I know we've talked about this before. I know we've talked about how when brands get so many requests about sponsorship, charity auctions, event sponsorship, literally it's not just the influencers that are doing it now. Various different events are also approaching people from absolute cold into their inboxes, asking for things like sponsorship, advertising. I had an advertising one the other day, which was really interesting. But it's not the right way to go about it. If you've got an existing relationship with someone and you've been working with them and chatting to them, and they say, oh, I'm thinking of doing this, are you interested? Yeah, it's a conversation. You're carrying on a conversation because you've built up that equity that you can do that. It's like walking up to someone you've never met and saying, you should sponsor me, and them going, what? Who are you? Or, oh, you should pay for this at my event. What? Don't do it, please. Think about, would you do that in real life? You wouldn't. You wouldn't approach someone from cold, walk up to them face to face and ask them for something to give you money. You need to get to know these people if they can even do that online. If they can even come up to you and say to you through a DM, oh, I've got this thing going on. Would you be interested in taking part? But normally what happens is you receive an email or a phone call or even good old snail mail where people send like a presentation and go through it with you. But an email is the way you want to go. If you're approaching anyone from cold, it's not the place to do it. The only time it would work would be if you said, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm really interested in this. I really respect your company. I was wondering who's the right contact to email regarding this at your brand. That would probably be the only time when approaching a brand from cold this would be an appropriate thing at the moment. I'm not saying in the future it won't change, but at the moment, the way that the kind of social media etiquette is that this isn't the way. Also, if you really want your pitch to stand out and people to pay attention, I don't know about you, but I get quite a lot of DMs a day. And I don't say that kind of, because I'm the queen. I just do, so people might react to my stories. So when my husband managed to get his finger super glued to Charlie's glasses 2 days on the trot, I got a lot of reactions from that post, from those 2 posts actually. But they mean that messages get sort of shunted down the list quite fast because that's just the nature of your DMs on Instagram. Or the way your Facebook messages work as well, where your messenger works, you do get those kind of pushed down inside that platform. And the same with, when you have messages on your Facebook page as well. So not only is it unprofessional, but you're really not giving yourself the best chance of success because the likelihood is that your message will be lost. And you don't want that. So absolutely, if you are approaching someone to say, oh, I'm thinking of doing this, I really love your brand, and I was wondering who is the right person to contact at your organisation, I can run with that. I can completely get how that would work. But if it's we're doing this, would you like to be involved? Oh, I'm this person, would you like to sponsor me? It's probably going to be a no, or just ignore you. Because also that's a lot of information to process on a direct message. And that's not where you want your message to be. Also, asking someone for any form of sponsorship from absolute cold is not a good idea anyway. The way that the sponsorship brand ambassador landscape is working nowadays is much more that connection is so valuable first. So approaching someone from cold in an unprofessional way in their DMs, it's not the way it's going to work. I would say 99% of the time that is not going to work for you. If you've been nurturing a relationship, if you have been engaging, commenting, being positive on their content, you're much more likely to have any form of success. And also, when you do appear in their DMs, they're likely to actually know who you are versus just random requests from people who send their life story across a series of direct messages. People aren't reading that, I'm afraid, because also in their DMs, they've got customers asking questions. They've got people who are posting content of themselves using their products or services. They're the ones that the DM should be for. The real connection, the real conversations, not the, you should sponsor me. Nope. Don't send the damn DM. Inconsiderate is the next one. Inconsiderate. And then next to that on my notes, I've just got a series of question marks. We've heard this one before, haven't we? We have heard usually it goes that someone emails a brand out of the blue asking them for something, like a sponsorship, like a freebie, like a giveaway, something like that. And then they can see that it's been seen, which is fair enough. But then what happens is that they send the person a line of question marks. Now, a top tip for life, really, That's never appropriate. Sending someone a list of question marks, a line of question marks in a direct message is never the appropriate way to do anything. If the person who admins that account sees it, they're going to be cross and just think, oh, I cannot deal with this. And I mean, you just kind of hope that they don't see it, really, because it will certainly not help your case whatsoever. Even if somebody was considering a bit of a dodgy approach, that will just finish them off. It's not appropriate. So don't do that. Inconsiderate. I've also said about when you message somebody and you expect them to reply immediately, and especially if that's then out of hours or across a weekend. Now, if they want to reply to you, fair enough. But if you send a message at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, don't send them a line of question marks at 9 o'clock on a Saturday. It's not cool. If you send a message at 9 p.m. on a Friday night, maybe expect to hear back on Monday. Anything else is an absolute bonus. But because of social media, our lines of our work-life balance lines are blurred. Where work stops and where life begins, that sounds awful, are blurred. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to receive a reply back. You may well do. But what you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be sending people a line of question marks or, oh, have you seen this? Oh, have you seen this? Or what about this? At 10 o'clock on a Friday night when you actually only emailed them at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. So just try and keep in mind that question marks are always bad, that expecting a reply that second isn't realistic unless that person is sat on their social media staring at their messenger, staring at their inbox, staring at whatever. It's not going to work. It's not right. And if you send it out of office hours, be respectful like you would with an email, like you would with a phone call. You know, if you phone an office at 9 o'clock on a Friday night and leave a message, you don't expect to hear back until Monday. That's as simple as that. If you want to also drop them an email because they might be in work, or give them a call on a Saturday if they might be open, fair enough. But don't expect that. So inconsiderate emails, you can send the email, obviously, if you've got a query about a product or a service or something that is relevant and it's not unpleasant or rude or unprofessional, send that DM by all means. But then don't spoil it by being inconsiderate with a follow-up. I know I do send messages at stupid times because it pops into my head, I know I'll forget it. And perhaps everybody does it. Everyone does that. But what I don't do is I don't chase the follow-up, because I know if I'm awake at 6 in the morning and I've had a thought, I'm not going to message them at 7 and go, why haven't you replied yet? I've sent it at 6 o'clock in the morning. Who am I kidding? I'm not awake at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. But that's on me. It's like sending an email at 7 o'clock in the morning. I do that. But I don't expect them to reply a minute afterwards. So, inconsiderate, don't send the damn DM. Unsolicited approaches. This does very much move into on a Venn diagram, it would cross into unprofessional. But I think that perhaps we need to just dive a little bit deeper into some of the very interesting approaches that I've seen over the last few months. So, the first one, it's going to be a sponsor me one. It's going to be oh, I love your brand. Don't follow them. They've never liked any of your posts. They've never contacted you before. They've never bought from you, and they don't follow you. I've said you don't follow twice because it's a pretty crucial piece. And it's the only time they've ever emailed you or messaged you or DM'd you. And they're going straight into oh, I really love your brand. Not that you'd know, because they've given you no sign. I really love your brand. I think you should sponsor me. No, just no. If you are going to be trying to get that connection, get that damn connection. If you want to be a brand ambassador or a sponsored rider or anything like that, or work with a brand in a different way, start by the connection. Start by making that real connection, forming a real relationship. Don't just go in for the ask. Also keep in mind that when I say unsolicited, these are ones that just come out of nowhere. If you've got into a chat on a chat on over a story, or you've been chatting on a post and the page person, the page admin, the page editor, page owner has said, oh, can you drop me a DM about that? Of course, you go for it. This isn't about this though. This is the out of nowhere 6 DMs long with your life history. isn't good. Another one, which I've seen a little bit, which is equally disturbing, is just, will you sponsor me? That's the whole message. So someone you don't know, so yeah, imagine this, someone you don't know sends you a message wanting you to give them stuff. And the message says, sponsor me, ? Or will you sponsor me? I can't remember the exact wording, but I think it was just sponsor me, ? That came flying across my vision from someone that in one of my groups, and I was like, not good. Not good at all. So just don't. Also, another thing as well, I'm going to go into the giveaway realm here, because at the moment there are a lot of accounts of different sizes running giveaways. I think it's actually slightly broken giveaways, but that's a different subject. I think good giveaways still absolutely have their place, 100%. I'm working on a few at the moment which are big and bold and, good. But I think the little kind of win, not very much, but make sure you tag everyone that you've ever met or known kind of giveaways, they probably didn't ever have a place, but I think with during coronavirus and because of lockdown, they've become much more common, much more popular, because they are quite an easy way of generating content, especially if you can't go out. And they can potentially be quite a good way to boost your following if you do the giveaway right. But if, again, it's a brand that you've never bought from, you don't follow maybe, you certainly don't engage in any of their content, you don't own any of their products, and you go to them and say, oh, we love your brand so much, we'd love you to give us some stuff for free. I did actually have one for someone who sent a message, and they were very much, oh, well, I used to have your product, but now I have a competitor's. So, oh, great start. Or maybe if you could just give her, and the product was worth about 300 quid, and I was just appalled about how dare they. So, don't do that. Don't be that person. I'm not saying you shouldn't be approaching people about working together, but this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to actually put the graft in and build the relationships. And then it's not an unsolicited approach, is it? Then it is a kind of organic development in your working relationship that you would ask about these things. It's quite a different thing altogether. So don't send that damn DM either. Now, spammy ones. Actually, I'm going to combine the last 2 points together. I'm going to combine spam and excessive together. So when I say spam, I mean the messages you get which are like follow for follow, or those messages that, thank God, seem to have stopped in my world at least, where you get a direct message and it's got a list of people on and you're meant to follow them all, add your name, send it to 10 friends. Oh, no. Just no. And I was getting these from people that I had never spoken to on social media before. That actually I don't think I even followed, and I don't think they followed me. Just no. Just absolutely flipping not. Don't do that. It's annoying. Don't send that damn DM. Another thing is the kind of follow for follow one. So, oh, I followed you. Cheers, thanks a lot. Will you follow me? No, I'm not going to do that. I tend to follow people that I want to follow, not because people ask me. Like if it's someone that I would like to follow and I've just missed, abso-flippin-lutely. But equally, they wouldn't ask like that. This is the thing. It goes up to rude and unpleasantness, doesn't it? The unprofessionalness. It's these approaches that come out of nowhere and just say follow for follow. No, don't send that DM either, please. Excessive as well, and I've actually got on good old Google to find the right word for this. It was asking for too much started with. And this is when, again, I'm not sure if you've had this, but you'll sometimes be contacted by people completely out of the blue asking you to do various things to help them. I don't mind helping people at all, quite the contrary. I really enjoy helping people. But when it's someone who's contacted me completely out of the blue, who I don't know, who hasn't been engaging in my content at all, it's the first time they've sent me a direct message, they don't comment on my posts, they don't follow me, and they're asking me to go off and do this, this, and this so they might win something, that doesn't sit well with me. I wouldn't ask my friends to do that. That could just be me, but I would be kind of, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I don't suppose you would possibly mind if you, to people I know well, I would never dream of approaching someone cold and saying, can you vote for me? I want to win this. No. So again, it's just a bit much. It's just a bit much. If you have got that relationship with somebody and you reach out to them and say, oh, I've entered this competition, I'd really love to win and I need your vote. If you wouldn't mind, that'd be amazing. Fair enough. But if you haven't got that relationship, and that usually leads on to the messages being quite a lot more abrupt and more rude because they don't know you. You're just a number they found somewhere. It's just not good. So don't send that DM either. Don't send the damn DM. Don't send it. It's not going to help you. You're not going to be voted on. It's just going to wind people up. And you don't want that. So there are a few reasons when you should not be sending the damn DM. Please don't send it in those cases. As I said, DMs are really, really great ways of communicating with people. Whether they're people that you've met as friends, whether they're brands you want to work with, whether you're a brand and they are a potential person you want to work with. And the thing is, all these things apply the other way as well. It's not just about influencers contacting brands. It's just generally how you use social media and how you use direct messages. They can be an amazing way of connection. They can also be a way that people feel a little bit violated, used and abused and just not where you want to be in your own DMs. So please don't do any of those things. Please. So that was the Don't Send the Damn DM podcast, which has been sat on a post-it note for a little while actually. I've been pondering it because obviously I don't want to offend people. That's not the point of any of these podcasts or anything I do. But equally, just being able to say, look, just think before you send a message. Is it any of these things or could it be any of these things? Not only is it going to help the person that's receiving it, but generally for you and your account, if any of these apply to you, it's fine, you don't have to say. If any of these apply to you, you can change your ways and become a really good follower, engager and user of social media, which will really help you and your account, and it will help you achieve what you want to through using the right things, through using, being polite, being courteous, thinking before you send a message about something that could offend someone. You don't need to be that person who jumps into someone's DMs and makes them feel awful or makes them feel used and undervalued. We should be using all of our social media to help, inspire, share in the best possible ways. And being rude in someone's inbox, being unprofessional, inconsiderate, unpleasant, excessive, unsolicited approaches that are just completely off the wall, please don't. It's not good, please. As always, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please do screenshot and share to stories. I think it's another really important one to get out there. I know that people largely listening to this will not be doing any of these things, but if we can help educate people around what is the right thing to do in these situations, everyone is going to win, because the people who receive these kind of things won't get that sort of, oh, not again, about it and begin to hate their inbox, because you don't want that from any point of view. And if you are someone who's trying to approach people to work together, just think about how you're wording it. Think about that relationship and the connections that you've formed moving forward and how you can grow those. So please do screenshot, please share to stories. Let me know if any of these have shocked you, because they have all happened to either me or people I know on social that have had these things happen to them a lot. I mean, are you surprised? Do you find it shocking? Not so much? It's an interesting one. And don't forget, if you're listening to this in real time, or at least before the end of June 2020, my Instagram Stories course is still on special offer until the end of this month. It launched at the beginning of June 2020 with an introductory rate of just £30, and that will be going up on the 1st of July. So if you want to improve your Instagram stories, make them really work for you, reach more people, and just enjoy using them, the course is for you. It'll be in the show notes, but it's also at riafreeman.thinkific.com. You will find it there. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it as always, and we'll catch up next week. Take care.